Hey guys, and welcome to a video covering some recent news including the nerf of 2 of the new ancient magic spells. Whenever you're ready, grab your cup of tea, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Let's kick it off by talking about the spell nerfs. Smoke Cloud was overperforming for non-magic users. Surprise, surprise, that's what you get if you add a spell to the game that can be used with a wand switch or the ingenuity of the human's ability when using melee or ranged gear. This shouldn't have been a surprise, but now it has been adjusted and nerfed by 40% effectiveness, reducing the critical hit cap from 112% to 104.8 and critical strike damage from 15% down to 6%. To be clear, Jagex has not nerfed this spell for magic damage. This tells me that they had originally planned for magic to slowly gain more of an edge in the combat triangle balance, yet even post-nerf these spells are buffs to the other combat styles, just slightly less. I suppose they just don't want to make a smoke cloud bomb in the future like what they did with vulnerability. If what they're going for is giving magic back the utility it used to have style only or some kind of damage buff, then why not just make smoke cloud one style only? I'm not entirely sure. Maybe it's too OP, but you know, ECB, Brocomeral Bolts, Gricko. This change itself doesn't really give players a reason to use magic more, but it's something in the direction of what will probably change with Godric Dungeon 3. I mean, the other spells are fantastic, let's be honest. The update was good. Also, just a few days ago, there were some changes to the ancient magic spells as well, including a reduction of rune cost for the Exsanguinate spell. Another thing that was changed, and it's pretty significant, is that the Trim Masterwork set effect no longer works with Animate Dead. The reason this was so good is because with Trim Masterwork, a big hit is split into bleeds over time, and because Animate Dead reduces the damage per hit, and the lower those hits are, the more damage you're actually reducing in percent, because that big hit is split into smaller hits, the total reduction of damage was way higher than intended thanks to that Animate Dead spell. Just think about it for a second. If your Trim Masterwork bleeds you for 100 damage per hit, and you have 96 damage reduction per hit, you're only taking damage in 4s per bleed hit. That is ridiculously good. And in case you didn't know, Trim Masterwork bleeds you 5 times, which means the damage reduction was 500% of what it should have been. Now you might be wondering, how does this affect AFK Vindicta? And it definitely affects AFK Vindicta, but you can still AFK Vindicta, although it's slightly less AFK and you might have to eat food every now and then. One thing I did change up is instead of using Persistent Rage, I decided to use an Adrenaline Urn personally so that I could use Death Ward to take less damage at a lower HP level. That being said, even without it, you can still kind of do Vindicta AFK with the Animate Dead spell because the Gana boots still reduce damage per hit. I mean, Enhanced Devoted still works, so it's pretty much still viable, just less AFK than it used to be and slightly harder to do. Apparently, you can also still fully AFK by wearing more tank armor pieces at the cost of kills per hour. Also, can the Animate Dead buff bar please update more frequently? Because for whatever reason, sometimes in the wilderness it lasts, while other times it just doesn't seem to last. I don't get what happens, like. And by the way, Animate Dead does work in the wilderness, so that's pretty OP. If you want to see what happens, what it looks like if someone zerks on you, this is what it looks like. Now I know this is not some crazy gear setup for PKing, but you can definitely see that most of the hits are a lot lower, especially the bleeds and the basic abilities. Sure, this might not save you 100%, but it does make magic tank armor even more powerful in PvP than it was before, especially if you're using Primeval Acto. Thank you to Submit Report and Cuter for helping me test that and to see if it actually worked. I might make a video on PKing with the new ancient spells in the future, but I'm not sure yet. I also briefly want to touch upon the Solak and Lost Grove Creature drop rework, as I've seen quite a bit of uproar around it. Firstly, it took way too long, and secondly, the comment by Mod Ramen pretty much aged like milk, where they said they had to test it to make sure it was correct, as most of the vocal community seemed to be quite upset about it, as they wanted Grimoire pages to become cheaper, so that it wouldn't cost you 10 mil an hour to run a Grimoire. I'm sure there are plenty of mixed opinions about this topic, but if the goal was to make the Grimoire more affordable to use, they should have perhaps taken suggestions like increasing the range of pages at Solak from 1 to 2 to perhaps 1 to 4, and increasing the current 1 in 512 on task chance at Lost Grove Creatures to 1 in 256, effectively doubling the chance of receiving a page on task. I wonder if there's even a chance they will change Solak again in the future, but judging by the amount of time it took for a change, I sincerely doubt anything will happen unless it's tweaked within the coming 2 weeks. And with that being said, we've come to the end of this unplanned video. If you enjoyed the video or found it interesting, leave a like down below and maybe even consider subscribing, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.